Welcome back to Light the Fuse, the Mission Impossible podcast that'll be celebrating the 10th anniversary of Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol for the next 6 months. Charles, how you doing?
Yes, Drew, that's true. We might know. I think it'll get us into January, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see. We still have to line up a few more people. We're working on it. We've got some exciting people we're chasing after, and we've also recorded a couple of other interviews other than this one with Kris Peck. So we're very excited. A lot of people, I think, that we reached out to were like, "Oh my God, how has it been 10 years already?"
I was gonna say, I think that we've been chasing a couple of people down for I would say over a year, and they finally have relented. And maybe it's because it's the anniversary. They're saying, "Okay, it's the anniversary. I'll help out. I'll finally go on these Knuckleheads podcast," and they did.
Yeah,
and it's been great. I've loved everything we've recorded so far. We've had some amazing guests. And we're trying to lock down a couple more that'll really delight everybody, I think. So
yeah,
it's exciting. We love this movie too. I mean, this is the movie that started it all for us, really.
Yeah, I think our mutual obsession with it absolutely started with that screening at the Lincoln Square AMC IMAX of Ghost Protocol. As we've told the story many times before, but it's what made us want to. That's where the name of the podcast comes from.
Yes.
I mean,
our sheer delight at that,
yes.
The utterance of that line. But yeah, so we're back with Kris Peck, who is the prop master for Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and he has got a lot of funny anecdotes this week. More funny anecdotes. And what are you excited about people hearing? Well,
I mean, he just gets into more awesome props and things that the projector, he talks about the test video he made for it, which is great. And we talk about the little, I always thought it was a water dropping sound, but he says it's a quacker. You know, it was the thing to distract the guard in the Kremlin.
Well, I think it was maybe a quacker initially, and it was a water droplet in the movie.
So you heard it as a water drop as well?
Well, that's what I assumed it was. I mean, why would that guard go after a duck in the Kremlin?
Yeah, I figured it was there's a leak, and he's like, wait, where's this leak coming from?
Yeah.
But I love now that it's called. You'll hear. He gets into it. It's apparently it was called the Quacker. He says even in the script. So we'll get into that. You'll hear him tell the story. I do want to apologize again for the sound quality. We had some technical issues with one of our microphones, but I think our editor mixer Luke Burson did a really amazing job cleaning it up. So hopefully you won't even notice.
And I obviously have something to do, Charles, at the top of the show. You know what it is. I'm giving a shout out. My first shout out is to Jeremy Dillon, who you and I will be seeing later this week. We're so excited. Jeremy lives in Australia, so it's rare we get to see him, but you should definitely check out him and his amazing podcast, My Favorite Album, which myself and Charles will be appearing on very soon. It's every week he interviews a different filmmaker, podcaster, actor, musician about the music they love and how it's influenced them and their work. And I also want to give a shout out to John B, because he has been with us too for a really long time. Both of these guys have kept this show afloat, and if you want to help keep the show afloat, I implore you to go to patreon.com/lightthefuse and become a Patreon member. A lot of great perks, which we'll talk about after this interview runs. But yeah, don't you think everybody should join, right, Charles?
Everybody should, because if they did, we'd stop talking about it.
We'd quit our jobs and we would just become full-time podcasters, which is our dream. But sadly, society won't allow for that. Yeah. Anything else before we jump in here?
No, I think that's just excited to share part 2.
Okay, great. We'll be back afterwards.
There's also I don't know if you want to stick with Dubai. I don't know. There's the contact lenses. Did you do anything for that, or was that mostly just CGI?
They did make them, but no, mostly CGI. But I'm pretty sure they had contact lenses in him.
Yeah,
that registered right.
What about the door number generator? That kind of punched out.
Yeah, Simon Pegg's running around switching all the addresses.
Yeah, absolutely, really cool prop.
Yeah, so was there a mechanism in there? Did you talk about what the real world sort of application of this was. I mean, it's a pretty specific prop to put on that number.
Oh my gosh, I wished I could remember. I wish I had a great story for you about it, and I don't. Except for I know there's some suction cups. We were dealing with suction cups because of the glass coming in and out of the Burj Khalifa. So there was a suction cup, and on those you push a little button. But we wanted it to have like a mechanical.
Yeah, it's almost like a punch.
I think it folded. Did it not fold down?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, folded down, and at that moment, then it was just about having it descramble the code to unlock the door. Is that what you're talking? Or are you talking about changing the numbers on the door?
Numbers.
Yeah. Okay. That was movie magic, obviously.
I wanted to just say there was a little compartment in there, and
I'll tell you something really fantastic that Brad Bird shared with me, and I've actually. I told Brian Johnson about this. I just finished working with Brian Johnson. I said, Brad Bird told me something one time. And I've asked Brad questions like, because I'm a prop master and, we try to base things in reality. And, hey, well, how do you do that? What if we get, asked about, he's like, Kris, if I've allowed the audience to think about that, I have failed as a director. And I love that response. And because he delivered, when you're watching Mission Impossible, you're going to sit back and you're going to eat some popcorn and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I love movies like that. Just like Casablanca. You know who the good guys are. You know who the bad guys are. It's just going to be a lot of fun. I don't want to be taken out of it because I've had a chance to think, wait a minute. And the door gag, and there's a lot, the mask making machine, there's a lot of gags in that movie. To me, Brad keeps it moving. You don't have a chance to stop and kind of question it,
right?
Well, did you get to work? Was it Sid Mead that worked on the mask machine?
He did it on MI3, and then they used the same design in 4. Did he come back to work on it?
Sid was around, and we had a meeting about it. He did. Tim Flattery did that, and basically it was a challenge from Bird and Brian Berkey saying, "Hey Peck, this is the mask making machine 2.0. You got it." And they were like the challenge. It was a challenge. You got to make it better than the last time. It's been in every movie. You got to make it better. So Tim Flattery, I think what they said was, we don't want to do one head. We want to do 2 heads now. And so Tim drew that up. We actually got from Bad Robot. They had a mask making machine. We got that from them, and we really just tried to, and we again used the iPhone.
Was that the one from 3 then that they had?
Yeah, okay. That's right. And we were a beneficiary of the technology. Now we can, before, to take a screen and a small screen that's self-contained and put it in a prop, that honestly didn't happen. It's a big deal to put a small screen. It was because they're clunky. Even the smallest screens that you could go find before an iPhone were clunky, and batteries and hard wires and that kind of thing. Now we could put the iPhone in there. We can burn in the mask making machine on the screen. Yeah. We can put some numbers and have it do all that sequence. And then while we're building this head to go into the mask making machine, one of the vendors we were working with, this brilliant makeup effects guy, and he said to me, he says, what do you think about if we use, he goes, those things that you can put your hand in and it kind of mirrors, your hand, it's like little pins tops.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, what do you think about if we did that on the head? And I'm like, that's freaking brilliant. And I love it when you get surrounded by really, really, really smart, creative people, and those kind of things come out. And you just have to, you got to roll it. You got to take it. And when he said that to me, I said, that's brilliant. And there was a time crunch, on trying to get all this stuff delivered. But him and his crew, they worked over Christmas to get that done, like literally 18 hours a day trying to deliver that. But it was real. Wow. The pins were real, in the head.
That's so awesome. And they succeeded.
It did.
I think it is 2.0. It's
yeah.
an upgrade.
Did you work with Sid on Tomorrowland?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
That he came in and did a lot of work with us for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sad that he is no longer with
yeah.
us.
Genius.
Yeah, I got to meet him at Comic-Con a couple years ago, but for Tomorrowland. What about the in the hallway in the Russian section?
The projector?
The projector with the Mylar.
Yeah, because when we talked to Brad Bird, he told us a story about how a lot of people were not understanding what he was doing there.
Even up until the test screenings.
Yeah, that's true. We also heard a story recently that a lot of the producers and people were not really sure that was going to work, or that people would buy it, or that it was going to be funny, that there was the silence of the sequence and everything too. So
right.
What was your experience with putting that sequence together?
Of all the props of the movie, that was the one that I was like, okay, you can write this, but how are we going to do that? And we had a the effects crew, there was an American effects crew that went to Mike Menardis and his guys. They were brilliant, did a lot of great work, and they were, I want to say they were in Prague with us, in Dubai. But when we went to Vancouver, it was this brilliant special effects crew. And they had this idea. They're like, yeah, we're going to, use compressed gas. And they, what came up, and it may have been Mike's idea, actually. He said, when you have a tent, like a really high-end tent, you have shock cord. And, and you can take the tents almost and throw them out these days, and they kind of expand and go by themselves. Right. I can't remember if it was Mike or the Canadian guys were like, yeah, this is kind of an idea we have. And when I heard that, I was like, that's it. And what they were going to do was use compressed air to blow it and expand it. And so once I heard that, you know what? On my laptop computer, I think I have a video because here's the deal. These guys, they write this stuff. And sometimes, stunt guys do this a lot. They'll say, okay, here's the sequence. We've kind of put it together. We'll show it to you, and the director can look at it, and give notes and say, I like it. Let's change this. But nothing's better than a video. So we came in on a Saturday and kind of just did the whole sequence, literally the whole sequence. And I showed it to them, and it was a good laugh. Everybody kind of laughed at it, because it's me trying to act and which doesn't work. But we kind of and they saw it, Brad and Jeffrey and Ryan Berkey and Tom, and they all like, that's it. That's where, and we kind of did it as written, but like mechanically how we were going to do that and how much we were going to do practically and how much was going to be a visual effects. I have to show that to you before I leave.
I want to see that video.
Really, really, it's really fun, really cool.
What about the kind of noise machine?
That was crazy, Brad. I didn't never to me. I'm like, what's this quacking thing, And Brad's like, Brad has a fascination with parabolic dishes, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed that, but the one that when the floor collapses in the prison,
yes,
he has a fascination with salad tossers where, and he says, no, like your salad tosser, it opens up and it becomes like a parabolic dish. I've heard this from him multiple times on 2 movies.
That's true. There are a lot of dishes.
It's his default. It's his default. It's his go-to on some props. But the quacker, is kind of a. I think the thing is which was a really brilliant move on all the filmmakers. Brad and Tom and everybody involved was we got to be able to laugh at ourselves a little bit. Let's not take it too seriously. And especially with Simon, he's a great guy to be that vehicle for the comedy element. I don't know. I the quacking thing never made sense to me.
I never thought of it as a quack. I always thought of it as like a water dropping sound or something.
Yeah, but I think it was written as a quack.
Quacker.
I think it was written as a quack.
It really was.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that.
What was that? What was the dish supposed to do underneath the Russian prison? That is the one thing that is very sci-fi in a movie. That
the dish?
The kind of the thing that sucks the earth out of the floor.
Oh, that you were talking about. They used to escape the prison.
Yes.
And it.
It
makes
okay.
a hole.
Okay,
It makes a hole in the ceiling.
Yes, the prison.
Yeah. Okay.
What the hell was that?
Like a thunder. It was like a thunder. It was, I don't know. I can't remember.
Because it's
be honest with you.
What is this thing that's it's sort of, I don't know, destabilizing the floor or something.
I apologize. I just can't remember.
Dematerializer. I don't know what the science is behind.
Yeah.
It. I love the look of it. It's so awesome the way the floor opens up.
Yeah. God, I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Wow.
That's okay.
I wish I had a good story.
What about the little robot?
You mean in India, in Bombay?
Magnet?
Yeah,
the magnet that keeps up Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was something that as you guys have already said, there's things that come in really late to the game.
Okay.
And you're not, you're just supposed to roll with it, and you're, okay, yeah, right. You're right. We've told you about this. You've got a month to build it, and to conceptualize it, get it approved, and build it. So it was almost like a reverse magnet. He had the suit on, right? And
like the chainmail.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like a reverse magnet. It was going to keep him floating. But we were talking. I don't know if you've seen that. The thing that was, it's Boston Analytics, is it? Boston Dynamics?
Yes.
And they had the dog.
Yeah.
That company, I think they came and spoke with us and presented something to us at one time. We were going to go with it. It was like something that was being discussed, and then it went away, and then it came back in that form. Third act of the script on that. That was never in the original.
Where was it before?
I can't remember, but they did come and show us something, and it was, a lot of ideas get tossed around. A lot of ideas come and go.
Was it like a radio controlled car essentially? Like how or was it?
It was,
on a string or something? Or
there was a Canadian prop master, Dean Eilertson, who was working with me. When you go to these other countries, if you're smart, you're going to hire someone who your equal, who knows the vendors, the resources, has great ideas, can kind of throw into the pot and make this great dish. And Dean, he was had a lot of knowledge about the RC world, and so I think he's the one who found that small. It was the smallest, and Brad kept saying we gotta believe that this thing is heavy. And one of the challenges was when this thing kind of drove around, it kind of bounced like a lot of RC cars do. And he kept saying, no, man, and it was a big deal to ultimately feel like this thing, when you saw it move, that it felt like it was 100 pounds, 200 pounds, whatever, and not some 15 pound. Well, the thing is, when you're driving something with batteries, weight is the enemy. So it was working against itself, but trying to get that thing leveled out, you get little pieces of film here and little pieces of film here, and you make it look like it worked.
Hey, it works.
Yeah.
It works.
It looked heavy to me.
Were there any sort of like props that ended up being an unexpected challenge? Like, this is no problem, and then
I think the goggles was a really. I thought goggles we can do, gloves that's going to be the big deal. But once the gloves got on Tom, and I was surprised that went so smoothly, and I did not expect the goggles. That was a big deal.
Were you guys involved at all in the quick change outfit that he goes through?
I wasn't, but I have a great story about it.
We're all ears.
First of all, I love that sequence. I really, really, really love that sequence. Coming in, he's got the case with the moving wall and all that in it. But Tom, he's like, hey, there's James Bond and there's Ethan Hunt, Mission Impossible. It's USA, man. When I take this off, I want Born in the USA, kind of like to, the beginning of the movie kind of thing. And Paramount's legal and clearances, they came back multiple times and said, no, we can't get clearance on it, because it's Born in the USA and it's a different record company, and Tom, and you can't get anything past Tom. Not, you can't say, well, you can't do that. He'll just say, why? And when this came down, he wanted to wear Born in the USA shirt. He said that. And we kept getting, they weren't telling Tom no, but they were telling us, and we're getting clearance reports that say, Born in the USA, not cleared. And Tom's like, Bruce used to be my neighbor when he lived in LA. I will call him. He calls Bruce and it says, yeah, of course you can use it. And that's how it went down. And that is how that whole thing. So
you think about it, like there's not a lot of Bruce Springsteen songs in movies or images. Like he doesn't clear a lot of things. So it must take being his neighbor to really get in and do a movie.
and being Tom Cruise helps.
And being Tom Cruise.
I love that story though. Yeah, I'm a big Bruce fan.
We talked to Michael Kaplan a while ago now.
Yes.
But I think he said that the costume designer, Michael Kaplan,
yeah,
I think he said that was his T-shirt. Didn't he say that?
Oh, that's right. He's a little guy. I can see that. Yeah. Vintage. That's a great moment. But it kind of blurs the line between props and costumes, and it's just wonderful.
It's, I just love that sequence when he pulls the mask off. It's like the popcorn. You're in the theater. You're watching a Mission Impossible movie. I think it was the last one when the Wolf Blitzer is freaking brilliant. Like, having worked on it, I feel like that sometimes I can pick, okay, this is when they're going to do the such and such. That moment, man, when I was like, I should have known and I didn't. I love that.
Yeah. The opening sequence when his name is escaping me now.
Josh
Holloway falls, and then the inflatable thing comes out of his back right before he hits the ground. Did you have a hand in that at all?
Yeah, but it doesn't come out of his back.
He throws it.
He
right.
throws it. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's a little, and it's a really.
I guess I missed. I have not
it's a
been watching
really
that sequence right. I guess
it's a really cool prop, and it didn't get a lot of screen time. And sometimes, to me, when a prop doesn't get the screen time, it's like, did it not work? Sometimes it's a sign that it wasn't a great gag. Rather, I didn't execute the prop well, or it didn't work well, whatever. But in this particular instance, there was so many gags, and they just needed to, it was about, you got to keep the story moving. But it worked, right? There was this little small thing, and when he threw it, it expands into into basically a airbag. It's an airbag.
Right.
Yeah.
Was there
That's
discussion
cool.
about the diamonds? There's this whole gag with, she's only paid in diamonds and all this stuff. Was there a lot of discussion around those diamonds in the hotel room?
Yes and no. It was like, because we just got really good fake diamonds. I mean, where the better discussion was is how Simon, we had to do the arm, third arm.
Third arm, yeah.
Yeah, which was a lot of
that's
fun.
great.
And we also had a full dummy of Simon, and Simon was, messing around and getting pictures of himself. And he's sitting, the dummy's kind of like sitting like dummies do, which is by themselves, leaning against a wall, and he would go stand against the wall. I think I have pictures of that. But the arm and pushing the cart,
Yeah.
we the same guy that came up with the pins on the head for the mask making machine, he did that whole arm gag for us. And Simon, it's like a prosthetic basically. Put it on, and then his real arm's underneath. But I got Simon in the hallway. I have video. I have like stuff from my iPhone, just testing it and rehearsing it with it's just Simon and I in the hallway, seeing if the gag's gonna work, if we can sell it. And it was a lot of fun. And that became, for me, when I think of diamonds, I think more of the the fun of that whole gag.
The fake arm. That's so great.
Well, I know that Brad was really. I mean, that sequence was one of the things he wanted to do the most in this movie, right? Like moving between the floors. And things like that.
Absolutely.
Did he sort of convey that importance to you?
Absolutely. There was a lot of discussion on set while we were shooting it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, between Brad Ilswit and Tom and the actors. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. They were. I feel like that there was a time. Well, you're just trying to figure it out, and I feel like that. God, it was so long ago, I'm trying to remember, but I feel like that we actually rehearsed it simultaneously on one of our sets.
Yeah.
Like that. Trying to just figure it out.
I think that was also when they were really trying to figure the script out too.
For sure.
I think did we see a picture, or we were just told about a picture of McQuarrie working on the script in the actual hotel room while they're trying to figure out stuff in, the switcheroo and all that stuff. Do you remember this? Do you remember him typing away?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if Kris was actually there in Dubai, or he came on right after that.
I think he was.
But they were, and I'll tell you where they were, is upstairs in the very top floor was Sheikh Mohammed's personal condominium. Or apartment, whatever it's a condo, I guess you would say, and it's a 2-story. I remember it had this fantastic staircase inside it, and I don't know. I had to go up there with our 2 writers we had. I'd have to go up there and discuss something or show them something, or just like during that process when we were at the Burj Khalifa, going up there to the very, very, very top floor, and the building is shaped, for lack of, it's not a triangle actually, but there's a lot of rooms on the lower floor, but when it starts to go up, it gets narrower and narrower, and there's less condos, right? Okay, obviously.
Right.
And it's two things are kind of interesting. One is that very top floor is Sheikh Mohammed's personal condominium. And the space is not as big as you might think. But there's a restroom up there, and it's the king's throne, obviously. And it's a very small space, and when you're in the bathroom sitting on the toilet, there's your knees are right at the window looking down, 150 stories or whatever it is.
What?
Wow. And it was gold fixtures, the sink fixtures, everything was gold. But that's where the writers were. And if Kris, I'm trying to remember if Kris was in Dubai at that time. He came on about that time. And they were up there writing away for sure. A lot of writing going on during that period.
So Nemec and Applebaum were in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Were in Dubai.
Absolutely.
Wow, interesting. Was there any gags that they told you about that you didn't build that you wanted to?
God, I can't remember. I think that listen. I think with Tom on any movie, everything is in play until we roll camera, and even after we roll camera, if it doesn't work, we're gonna get it. We're gonna do it until it works. That means that whether it be props or costume or the writing or anything, if it doesn't, everything's in play.
Well, here's something that didn't make it that you built: the train ticket reader that Paula Patton has.
Yes.
That scans.
Absolutely.
Not in the movie, but it's on the deleted scenes, so it is. So we have seen it.
Right.
That was That was a cool thing.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of the mission briefing too, or she was getting information from that train ticket.
Yeah. So listen, there was a lot of things coming and going, honestly. And there was, a movie like that, it's not like there's 3 main props of the movie. I say this humbly, there's 30 props of the movie, and you kind of, lose track of it, over time. And it's not as fresh on my brain.
I know.
I apologize.
Was there any discussion on the rock that Tom Cruise plays with at the beginning in the prison?
Absolutely. You know what that's inspired by.
No, what?
Well, yeah, we talked to Brad Bird about Cooler King. Right? Didn't he say it was
It's Steve McQueen.
Yeah,
in
Steve
The Great
McQueen.
Escape.
He plays his character as the Cooler King.
Yeah, exactly. Great
Right.
Escape. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. What was there any...
No, listen,
There's some ILM stuff in that scene though too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This is my personal opinion, okay? I'm not speaking on behalf of anyone. I believe Tom is a huge Steve McQueen fan. How can you not be, right?
Right.
Because I had worked on a movie with him previously, and there was a reference that came up, and it wasn't talked about a lot, but that reference was a Steve McQueen reference. It wasn't like, hey, there's a Steve McQueen reference, and I love McQueen. I flagged it. I knew it was a McQueen reference, and that's all. And then when this rock came up, I knew it was a McQueen reference. And then Top Gun hasn't come out yet, but there's something that came up in the opening of Top Gun that's a McQueen reference, and I actually was speaking with the decorator on that movie. I was like, I'm not speaking on anybody's behalf. I'm just telling you my personal opinion. You can do some research about Santa Paula and McQueen when he had the airplane hangar down there, flag that. So anyway, don't want to get off topic, but I think
we're
that's
gonna have
what the
to
rock
get
is.
you back here for Top Gun Maverick, because we're gonna do a whole mini series on that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to bring you back.
Yeah. So it's just a sense that he's I think that
a McQueen aficionado.
Yeah, and so to answer your question, no, there's not talk about it. It was just like I think he came up and said, "Hey, we're gonna," and this I don't even think that was in the script. It was like we arrived in Prague and we scouted the location, or I think he scouted the location with Bird first, and then afterwards, a couple days later, whatever. So they do a director scout. Then it's going to be a tech scout with the crew, and it's like, oh yeah, there's this rock, and I'm like, well, hold on, what? What do you mean a rock? And like, no, he's like, it's a rock, and he's going to pull it out of the wall, and we're in like this practical location, and I'm like, I've come from the prop world where one is none. I'm like, okay, now I got to have 5 rocks, and they all going to match because I don't know what's going to happen with this, and now I got to like somehow we're going to go into this building that's not ours and put a hole in the wall. It ended up not being that big of a deal, but coming in on the back end of that, like so many things on a movie like that where you're like, oh, by the way, we need a rock, and he's going to throw it. What?
Was that from the original prison sequence or the
rock?
reshoot?
I don't think the rock ever made page. I don't think the rock was ever in the script.
And when they brought it up to you, did they say, this is a reference to The Great Escape?
No.
Or did it just...
it just it wasn't. I think that was me in passing with either Tom or Bird. And it was like, yeah, man, The Great Escape. Exactly. That's exactly like that. But it was nothing more than that. Just to kind of in passing acknowledgement, because I was trying to catch up. And they're already on to the next thing. And I'm trying to say, rock, you're bouncing off what you're doing. Like McQueen, Steve, Great Escape.
We spent time with Brad Bird, and he's such a font of energy, let's say, and ideas. And I was wondering professionally what it's like to take all of those ideas and that information and sort of process it. Is that a difficult task? And you've worked with him twice now. I hope you are. Are you working on the new movie? Has he called you up yet?
I have not heard from him on the new movie. However, Brad is a friend, and
we'll cross our fingers.
We have a great relationship. I don't know what the new movie is.
He just told us it was a musical.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah. But what is it like processing that kind of?
He has it's contagious, and like I come to it. First of all, I come to it with a lot of enthusiasm. So being around a guy like him, it's really contained. He's very open-minded. He's got very specific ideas, and he doesn't deviate away from them. However, in other instances, he's hey, like for example on Tomorrowland. This is classic Brad Bird. He's like, hey, no, man, like I want a guy playing fetch with a lion. Who thinks of that?
Where was that? Where was there a lion?
It didn't end up in the movie, but it's a concept that he had. Like, what is Tomorrowland? Like, and we're all trying to think of this. What appeals to everybody? Like, what is Tomorrowland? And he's like,
playing fetch with a lion.
It's like,
that appeals to me.
like, you got kids out playing fetch with a lion, and I'm like, that is genius. That's to me how I would sum up Brad Bird, like, working with him. And I love that.
The only director I think who has had to be edited on the Pixar special features because he shouts the F word, which I love. That's the level of kind of commitment and exuberance that he has.
I will say this: the environment that all the filmmakers created for us, for the crew, was a very positive. We're going to go do this. There was never, no, we can't do that. We don't have the money for that. We can't, between Jeffrey Chernoff, between Tommy Harper, between, obviously our two leaders, Brad Bird, Tom Cruise, it was always like, we need you to think outside the box and we want you to bring this to the table. It was a really encouragement. You never got shut down as that's a bad idea. Even if it was a bad idea, they wanted a really great atmosphere. It felt, to be honest with you, when you hear stories about the stories I've heard about working in an environment like Pixar, where they encourage thinking outside the box. Okay. So that's what it's like, first of all, working with Brad and working on Mission Impossible, bring it.
Right.
You got to bring it.
Was there any frustration with the limitations of live action, I guess, coming from animation? Because you can't just redraw a prop if it, it is a 3D thing.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, it was new for him. I remember that, but it's refreshing, to bring that in. I don't know. I don't think so.
He added so much life to the franchise.
For sure.
It's just wonderful. Yeah. Do you have some fun Tom Cruise stories? Because everybody loves them.
Let's see here. I love the one about when he, going out in the sand. God, you know what?
Did he get any good food trucks for you guys?
Not on that one, but when we did Rock of Ages, every Friday night it would be the chocolate fondue with strawberries and fruit or ice cream, or literally every Friday night there was another food truck show up. I can't remember on Mission Impossible just because we're working long hours and nights and days, and we were in Dubai. But Tom is like one of the guys when you're working in, he's the boss and he's the gold standard for the expectations. Like working, when you're working with him, you're working at an incredibly high level, the highest level.
You have to reach his.
Oh yeah. You're challenged and pushed every day for sure. That having been said, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. He'll get in there, and many times he has got in there and built the props with us. Literally, and we'll tease him. We'll say, "Hey, Tom, 28 more days, you're going to be in the union. If the acting thing doesn't work out, we can get you in local 44 and get your prop card." And that kind of like, just teasing and fun and keeping it light, it's great. And I don't know. I find that really fun. It's really a great guy to work with.
Well, it seems good too. Like the story about the gloves, like he's in this shit. Like he's going to tell you what's going to work and what's not in a way maybe that you haven't thought of, or.
Yeah. But at that time I didn't have that kind of shorthand with him or the relationship or the trust or know where he was coming from. I'm like, really? It's hurting your arm? Like, how? I'm thinking to myself, I'm like second guessing this, but then Lewis put him on. He's like, no, man, it really did hurt. I went back to the office and tried it. But once after that relationship gets developed and there's a shorthand and a trust, it's, he doesn't, I don't get messages through 3 different people. Tom wants this, or Tom, you speak directly with him about that. If there's any problems or concerns.
I love that. And we're back. I cannot wait for people to see this video, which I thought was awesome.
It's pretty funny. He showed it to us afterwards. He sent it to us, so now it will be on our website in the show notes. So go to lightthefusepodcast.com, go to the episode guide, look at this part 2 of the Kris Peck interview, and you'll see the video of him testing out the projector on the set, which they did on the weekend. before they shot the actual scene, just to show how it was a proof of concept.
Yeah, I think I was actually always wondering how much of that was CG and how much of it was practical. And in this video, you see just how much of it is practical. It's really impressive. Obviously, the projection of it is an ILM post effect, but
Right.
just the way that it snaps into place, and it's so cool.
Yeah.
I think you and I both love that scene a lot and love that people were doubting it, and it played like gangbusters. So yeah, it's just
so
great.
good. Also, it was interesting to hear about the Steve McQueen reference in Top Gun Maverick, which he says was in like the opening scene, something to do with the airplane hangar. We saw the opening 15 minutes of Top Gun Maverick. So
Not to brag, but yeah.
I'm curious what I looked up Steve McQueen airplane, like he had an airplane hangar or something where he would fly out of. Maybe they dressed the airplane hangar to look like Steve McQueen's or something, because it's not really a spoiler. There's just the opening. Well, I mean, I guess if you don't want to hear it, you should skip the next 15 seconds or 30 seconds. But it's just Maverick just in an airplane hangar at the beginning, and you see like kind of where he flies out of or lives out of or whatever.
Yeah, I was too busy cataloging all of the references to the original movie, but I did not catch any Steve McQueen things. But I don't know. I mean, maybe is it Steve McQueen's hangar that they shot in or something?
That's a good question. Well, in any case, we need to get Kris back for Light the Fuselage, and after the movie comes out, then maybe I think he'll be more forthcoming about what that reference is, and so we'll just have to get him back.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, we stopped him from saying some stuff. We said, "Hey, stop. We're gonna talk to you about it in a few months, hopefully."
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just very generous with his time and very generous with his stories, so we really appreciate him.
And I know you love Tomorrowland, so when he brought up the concept that it was never filmed of the kid playing catch with a lion, how much did you love that?
It's such a Brad Bird thing too, right? Like just the unlimited possibility of the future is a little kid playing with a lion. Yeah, we're working on one of the key collaborators on Tomorrowland. He has not returned our email yet, but I'm hopeful that we will get even more Tomorrowland stories in the near future. But yeah, what a interesting little anecdote that was.
Yeah, we always got to get all the Tomorrowland juice.
No, I think that might be the last bit of juice. What else? Do you want to tease anything for next week?
Well, next week he actually opens up his book of photos, and we go through and look at stuff, and he tells some great stories. We get into Dark Knight territory, we get into Gore Verbinski territory, and Pirates of the Caribbean. He did the sequels.
Yeah, you get to hear him talk about the live action Rango shoot, which is very interesting.
Yeah, that's a really fascinating thing, the whole shooting Rango. I mean, didn't Wes Anderson kind of do that also with Fantastic Mr. Fox?
Yeah, I think they recorded at in Connecticut, actually, at like an old farm, and they had it, everybody running around and wheezing and doing their dialogue. Really interesting.
That's fascinating. Can you watch the live action stuff, or some of it at least, on the
You can
Blu-ray
watch some of it, yeah, on the Fantastic Mr. Fox and Rango Blu-rays. You can see this. That's why, when he said he worked with Verbinski, I was like, I wonder if he did that live action Rango, and he did, and so we get to hear a little bit about that, which is really fascinating. So
yeah. But I guess we should tell everybody to sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/LightTheFuse. We do bonus episodes every week, so please sign up at the bonus content level and you'll get that. Or you can sign up at the higher levels and be part of our monthly Skype chat, or be a sponsor for every episode. So yeah, check that out, and it really supports the show. And if you can't do that, then maybe buy a shirt or magnet or a pin. So that's on our TeePublic page, which is linked from our website, lightthefusepodcast.com, in the merch section. And I have some thank yous I have to give. I want to give a special thank you to Robbie J. Martin. So thank you for making this episode possible, Robbie. And also want to thank our editor and mixer, Luke Burson, and of course our music by Kevin Blumenfeld. And you all. Thank you, Drew, for being such a lovely
Charles.
Co-host.
And I think we should tell people that even if they sign up for the level that gets you to the Skype chat, you don't have to do the Skype chat. If you're nervous, you don't like meeting new people, you don't want to talk on Zoom once a month, right? Like they can just enjoy all the other perks and enjoy the fact they're supporting us.
Or you can just lurk on the Skype chat. You can show up and never show your face and just be quiet in the corner. And
that would be cool. Yeah.
You can be like the fog in Ghost Protocol.
That's right. I mean, listen, we have a lot of fun on these Skype chats, and everybody on it is really wonderful. And I'm not just saying that. They really are great, and they have such a passion for this series, and it's just, it's fun to check in with them once a month and see what everybody's watching and, all the latest developments. So it's a lot of fun. But I just wanted to say, if you join up for that level, you don't have to join the Skype chat, but we would love to talk to you, obviously.
Yes, of course.
Yes. All right. Well, until next week, that's it for us, right?
Yeah, I think we covered everything. Follow us on social media at Light the Fuse Pod, because we're going to do a watch party for Ghost Protocol. We'll announce it close to the anniversary. So sometime probably in early December, we will announce the exact date of the Mission Watch Party that we will do. Check out the hashtag Mission Watch Party if you want to look at our previous ones that we did for all of the other 5 movies. Ghost Protocol is the last one we have to do, and we're going to do it this December.
Yeah, we should try to get some people involved this time, make it big.
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah, all right. Well, while we work on that, we'll be back next week with part 3 of Kris Peck.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. Before we go, another mission, should you choose to accept it, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember that you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LightTheFusePod, and email us questions or comments at lightthefusepodcast@gmail.com. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.